Hey, good people. How are you? I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist, and today I'm continuing my video series on recharging your life. Recharging your life when you feel like maybe you've just sort of lost your mojo a bit, your motivation is down a little bit, you need something new, you are missing some stimulation, and you really just want to recharge your life and make some improvements. Almost like you're setting out on a campaign or a project and you want to see results. All right. That is such a great way to start any project. So, if that's how you feel that your life could use a recharge and you're willing to put in the work to do it, that is the best possible place that you can start from. All right. So, in this video, we are going to talk about the physical component of recharging your life. Now, we'll talk about that through health and fitness, and we'll also talk about how it impacts your mental health. All right. Now, a little bit about me. I have been a psychologist over 20 years. I have worked in most types of psychiatric settings, inpatient, day treatment, outpatient. And I've also worked in some specialized clinics, including an obesity clinic years ago in New York, where I helped people work on issues related to the amount of food that they took in, the identity they developed as someone who is overweight and makes bad food choices, and so forth. So, I'm going to share some insights into this area so that you can use it to recharge your life when it comes to your physical fitness, your sort of identity as a person who engages in positive health behaviors. And we'll talk about how you will see your mood boosted as a result. Okay. Now, one thing that's important is I am not going to encourage you to change so drastically that it's really not realistic for you. And in fact, you can see another one of my episodes on motivational interviewing here on my YouTube channel, where that goes into great detail about how when people are making changes, especially health related changes, they are changes that the person has to be willing to agree to. They have to be willing to take them on. Otherwise, it's simply often not going to happen. So you'll see in this video, I'm going to be talking about changes that you would be open to considering to recharge your sort of life physical battery. Now, I want to start by saying when we talk about recharging your life, we're also kind of talking in a way about a way to reinvent yourself in a positive way. And, if you think about people who reinvent themselves, let's just take some famous examples because that's always fun. I'm thinking about people like The Rock. Think about the way that he reinvented his life from, a big time wrestler to one of the biggest actors and action guys in the world. Think about musicians like Bruno Mars. He's always reinventing himself musically, and that's a big part of his success. I'm thinking about Lady Gaga. There's no better example, perhaps, than Lady Gaga currently, who just constantly reinvents herself musically. And it really helps, I'm sure, to fortify these individuals' kind of life batteries. I'm sure that recharging themselves musically or professionally recharges their life, gives them a mood boost, makes them feel more passionate and invested and alive in their own life. So, we want to do something similar when it comes to you looking to make changes and improve your life. And this video is going to talk about some physical ways that you can do that. So, we are going to start with this area. We're going to start with exercise. But here's the thing, I'm not, as I sort of knock over my little twig lights here. I love twig lights, by the way. I have these things all over my house, just a little FYI. But here's the thing, when we talk about changes that you can make when it comes to recharging your life through exercise, no one is suggesting that you go out and run a marathon. Now, listen, that would be great. More power to you. It's actually amazing. In my personal life, I can't tell you the number of marathon runners I know. And I always am amazed by that. I actually have zero interest in running 26 point whatever miles, although I do like to run for a couple of miles. That's good. That's what you can get me to do. But so when we talk about recharging your life through your physical exercise, okay, we are first asking yourselves this basic question. Do you like exercise? Do you already have good physical routines? Okay. And so let me just share what a good physical routine would be. These are some important things that you can do to give yourself that boost physically each day. Morning exercise, a little morning exercise, 10, 20 minutes of light cardio exercise in the morning can be really, really, really good for you. It can have physical effects, but it also can boost your mood. Also, when you're outdoors, you're breathing, hopefully, fresh air, and you may be seeing others in the community, and you sort of feel connected. You feel connected not just physically in your own body, but also to the area around you, to your environment. So, those of you who are pet owners, for example, dogs who actually have to take your dogs for walks, you are lucky. Your dogs actually probably require that you go out and get lots of light cardio exercise every day. If you're someone who's a dog owner and you have a fenced in yard and you don't take them for lots of walks, that's a change that you can make. You know what? You can say 3 or 4 days a week, I'm going to start taking my dog for a walk. Trust me, your dog will thank you for it, but also so will you, your body, and your mood. Okay. Now, another thing besides the morning exercise that's helpful, research shows is little spurts of exercise throughout the day. Taking breaks on the hour, for example, for, 3 to 5 minutes of some kind of exercise. Could be running in place, jumping jacks, sit-ups, anything. But here's the thing, it gets your heart really pumping, gets you breathing in a different way, and you will find really gives you a kind of mood boost after, especially if you incorporate these things in your daily routine throughout the day. So, a little morning exercise is a great way to start off your day, and it's not a difficult goal to achieve for most. Okay. So, start there and then also think throughout the day. Little spurts of exercise can be really helpful. And ask yourself, well, what are you willing to do? If you are not someone who is going to get down on the floor and do sit ups or push ups, okay. The question is, when you are willing to recharge your life, you're going to have to try some things that are new and different. So, are you willing to, work out with some weights? Are you willing to grab some weights and lift weights for a couple of minutes? Anything to kind of get your body moving. All right. Now, another thing that I always encourage people to do when they are setting a physical fitness goal is also this one, to try a different type of physical exercise than is in their usual menu. So, a lot of people do exercise to some extent. Maybe they do walks, or maybe they go for runs, maybe they rollerblade, maybe they play basketball with their buddies. Whatever it may be, some people who do exercise, they already have a few of their set things they do. For anyone listening who wants to recharge your life, and in this video, again, we are doing it through talking about physical fitness, your health fitness, you can add to your list of fitness activities, add to your list of types of exercises that you engage in. For example, if you're not a yoga person or a Tai Chi person, just try a class if that's possible. A lot of people find that a yoga class, for example, at the end of the day is a great way to kind of decompress. It really helps yoga get people in control of better breathing, deeper breathing. And of course, deeper breathing can help to reduce a lot of anxiety. So add to your menu of exercises that you maybe haven't tried in a while, and set each week a goal to say, I will do this for the next week. I will do this once or twice at a minimum. And this sort of recharge your life plan, I think, makes sense to do for about 30 days, because what you want to do at the end of 30 days is look back and ask yourself, hey, how's my attitude? How do I feel? How does my body feel? How does my mood feel the last 30 days? It's a really simple way for you to kind of take that inventory. Okay. So these are just some examples of how you can turn to exercise and to new types of exercise, and exercise at different times of the day to kind of kickstart your life again and get that mood boost again in your life that you really need. Now, one final point that I just want to make on the exercise front is that I believe it's the founder of Instagram who talks about the 5-minute rule. That let's say that there's something that you don't want to do. Well, I think the founder says just do it for 5 minutes. You can do anything for 5 minutes, and then you know what? You'll end up doing it for longer. This is something that the founder of Instagram has talked about. And here's what I think. I think that sounds great, but to be honest, I can tell you as a psychologist who's worked with so many hundreds of people over the years, even 5 minutes, count them, five, sometimes is too much for some people. If it's 5 minutes, it's not going to happen. Let me give you an example of how you can rewrite a goal for you to get reconnected physically and that you can actually achieve that goal. Okay. If 5 minutes is too much for you, let me give you an example of what I've often told clients over the years. If I have a client who wants to get back to the gym, I tell them this. You are telling yourself, well, going to the gym means going and working out for a full hour. That's why you haven't been to the gym for over a year. Okay. It's too much. You've set the goal way too high. One of the things that I will do is I will tell a client, listen, what I want you to do is I want you to go to your gym and just simply sign in. Swipe your card, sign in, and if you want, I give you permission to turn around and walk right back out of that gym. All you have done is simply signed in. You have simply gotten yourself to the gym and signed in. And if you want to stay for a minute or two, or heck, even 5 minutes, like the founder of Instagram, then so be it. But you know what? All you have to do is get yourself to the gym and get back. That's all you have to do. So the point is setting goals that are what you would be willing to agree to. Because again, if you are not willing to do it, it's not going to happen. Or maybe you do it once, but it's not going to be sustainable. Okay. So just remember that rule that you get to create the goals that you will work for, but still working up a positive trajectory of change, okay, of recharging your life. Next, I'm just going to talk a little bit about recharging your life by looking at your foods and drinks that you take in and thinking about making some changes that can actually help your physical health, but also keep your mood balanced. So boost your mood, but also keep it balanced. There are a lot of different things that people turn to during the day to try to boost their mood, but they're not good, sustainable things. For example, you may see people time and time again who have energy drinks that are just loaded with caffeine or sugar, or maybe, someone will say, no, it's got caffeine, but it's sugar free. Well, but it's loaded with caffeine. And so one of the first things that you can do if you want to recharge your life by looking closely at what you take in food wise, okay, is to start with a simple food journal. Now, a lot of research shows that people who record what they take in, drinks and foods, are going to be making better choices ultimately because of that. So they first become mindful as they track what they're taking into their body. Now, that may be too tall of an order for you. That may be too big of a goal. You don't have to do that goal if that doesn't work. You know what? If nothing else, try it for one day, just one day. And maybe if you can do it one day, maybe you'll say, well, maybe I'll take tomorrow off, but then maybe I'll do it the next day. Okay. Again, you see where I'm working from that kind of motivational interviewing mindset. I want to suggest things that you will actually agree to. Let's start for a minute with drinks, what you take in terms of drinks. Are you a coffee drinker, for example? Now, a lot of times people who are coffee drinkers will have a thermos and, they just fill that thing up. Does anyone know exactly how many cups, actual cups, ounces of coffee you're taking in that thermos? That is a really good, simple piece of information to know. And if you look at your average coffee pot, it will actually show on the side a lot of times the specific number of cups. Look at that, okay? Look at that. Also, look at how often do you drink coffee? Are you someone just in the morning, or are you someone who also refuels, so to speak, in the afternoon? Well, what we know about caffeine, of course, is that it comes with a peak of energy, but you also know what happens on the other side. And then later, there's a dip in energy and also a lot of times mood. Same with energy drinks. So turning to caffeine too much, yes, it will boost energy for a moment, but it will also reduce it later. So it ends up being a bit of a roller coaster. And your body can't often adjust and stay balanced during the day because it's trying to figure out what's happening next, what's coming next. When is my next insertion of stimulation, of fuel? You want to find better balanced ways to refuel in a more natural way throughout the day so that you reach a place of balance and what we call homeostasis. Sugar drinks are, of course, another example. Same with the peaks and also the valleys that come with sugar drinks. So, if you are a soda drinker, if you're a big sugar drinker, because keep in mind, a lot of times you can have a loaded iced tea that has so much sugar in it that really it's not that different from a soda. So keep track of how much sugar you're taking in through drinks and ask yourself if it's possible, if you have some sort of lulls or lows during the day, if that might be related. Research will suggest that yes, it absolutely is related, that there are valleys, there are lows biochemically that are associated with having too much caffeine or having too much sugar. And then next, and the last point that I really want to make about recharging your life and looking at the sort of foods and drinks that you take in is the amount of fats that you take in, the amounts of fats and the amount of salt. Those are things that can have a really negative impact on your body and your mood. And so, how much fat or salt are you taking in? Just look at that. For example, are you a fast food person? If so, how many days a week are you doing that? Is it worth it for you to consider reducing that? Is that a part of this 30-day goal that you can set for yourself? So you're telling your friends, you know what, I'm actually doing this self imposed 30-day campaign to kind of recharge my life and kind of get my mojo back. And some of the things that I'm doing have to do with how I'm eating and how I'm drinking. Okay. Tell people, tell your family members, tell your friends, put it out there. Share a couple of messages if you want on social media about it, and you'll get some positive social support back from that. But look at any possible fast food trips that you're doing. Look at restaurants. Have you been going to restaurants lately? And if so, at restaurants, what kinds of things are you ordering? If when you go to restaurants, that's where you get really decadent and you're loading up on the fries, which of course are salty and fatty, and any number of things like that, ask yourself, well, is it possible that I could maybe mix up sometimes what I eat when I'm out to eat? And the answer, of course, is yes. Is there always at least one healthy item that you're using that's on your plate when you're going out to eat? That is a very simple goal that everybody can aspire to. In addition, they'll often ask you at the restaurant, do you want a glass of water with that? Are you drinking water? Are you hydrated enough? Do you know the research is overwhelming that shows that dehydration, not having enough water, is actually associated with low mood, is actually associated with fatigue. Many, many people don't drink enough water each day and feel fatigue, but not everybody associates their fatigue. God, I feel tired, or, I'm just not feeling it today. A lot of people don't necessarily associate that with hydration because they're not drinking enough water. This is another simple goal that you can set during this 30 days where you are working on this campaign to recharge your life, to increase your hydration, to increase your water intake. Look at the foods and drinks that you're taking in at restaurants. Look at what kinds of things you're buying at the market. Are you spending enough time in the produce aisle? Let's be real. Are you buying fruits and vegetables? Leafy greens are associated with so many different health benefits. And maybe you don't like all of them, but there's probably a couple that you do or that you would be willing to do. So think about that. Also, look at the way that you snack, because so often people can, eat reasonably healthy enough meals, but then where they falter is in their snacks. Salty, fatty snacks in the cupboard. And there are always some really good options that you can have for snacks that are really better for you and better for your mood. So set that as a goal to expand your menu of things that you snack on so that you are snacking on things that actually provide a health and mood boost as opposed to dragging it down. Even though they may taste really good, some of those salty, fatty snacks as they're going down, a lot of times later, they don't feel so good. And you're probably aware of that. All right. I hope this video has been helpful as we talk about another way in this video series of recharging your life to look at some of your health behaviors, your exercise habits, and your food and drinking habits. All right. You can also check out my other video that hopefully is just as helpful, which is recharge your life by building social connections in just 30 days. In that video, I talk about how you can focus on expanding and deepening social connections with the people you live with, perhaps, or your neighbors, your community, your friends, family. Social connections is important too, just like physical health, just like exercise and diet, when it comes to overall making you feel sort of present, making you feel healthy, good, and positive in your life. All right. I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist, and I'll see you next time.